Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. Today we are going to be doing a Pinterest hack. Let's see. Hello, can hear me, so we're good. So we're gonna do a Pinterest hack that my friend told me all about. It's super cool. I'm trying to debate: do I want to paint in my Bible or do I want to use just regular watercolor paper? I do have, let me see if I can move some of this stuff off here. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I do have this big old large piece of Canson XL watercolor. This is 11 by 15. That's not going to fit on camera too good. But what if we cut it in half? Y'all, we can cut it in half. We can cut it in quarters. That's why I buy the big paper, so you can cut it in half. I do have a cutter over here, but you don't need to watch me cut. But I'll let you look at my little fancy death while I cut it. You should do. We'll do something like a 5 by 7, but just a little bigger, so that when we do whatever we do, it'll be frameable, easy to frame, easy to frame. So anyways, we're gonna move this out of the way. On my other desk, which I need to clean, y'all. I am not a cleaner. I am not an organizer. I need someone to come and organize for me. Okay, look at this. This is beautiful. I actually did get clean water. Look at the amazingness. You can see through the bottom. But trust me, next week it'll be dark. Darkness. Darkness. All right. Do I even have my watercolors in here? You know what? We'll just use these. We'll use these today. I don't feel like going all the way to the car. Also, I love these colors. This is a gift my daughter had given me. It came with this cute little wreath and a bowl that sat on top. The bowl got broke, sadly. Could have did that technique with the gold and the cracks, but I don't even know where the bowl is, to be honest, where the pieces are. But I still can use this cute little guy, and he's a cute little palette. I like it. Like it lots. And today we are inspired by something on Pinterest. And here's the hack. I'm not even going to let you sit through an hour before giving you the hack. I'm going to show you the hack to learn, to get ideas. It's not a learn thing. It's just to get ideas. So, I open up my app and I look at whatever the first thing is that pops up, and that's what I paint. Ta-da! Look at what popped up. This is gorgeous. This reminds me of my childhood growing up in California. Look at that. Look at that beautiful cliffs and the turquoise blue and the waves. It's just beautiful. So we're going to paint that today. We're going to paint it. Is it going to be easy? Guess what? We're going to turn our paper this way, which I don't normally do. And I may just sketch this from my brain instead of the app, because you know how it is sometimes. I get a little dependent on that app of mine that I like to use. But we can also, use our minds too. And we're not going to get everything, are we? No, we're not going to get it all. And not all these rocks are going to be the same. You probably can't even see what I'm doing because it's so light. Because I don't like to press hard. All right, so we got this one. It should probably be a little bit more straight. And then up here is another horizon line. Maybe. Put that up higher. Because I don't like how this line goes here. You got to think about your composition, people. You can't be thinking, oh, I like how this looks. And then after you make your composition, you're like, that didn't look that great. But I'm not doing a drawing tutorial. You guys can look up lots of drawing tutorials online that will help you. Or get a book. Sometimes there's books online that will help you. I don't know. I like all this mossy stuff. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's just for funsies. And then there is some mountain. Everything goes upward in this. And then there's clouds. This is going to be so pretty. And we might make some seafoam looking areas. That'll look good. Now, did I like this? I might erase a little bit just to make it less stark, because sometimes when you paint, it's going to be stark on there. So I don't know if you can see, there's not much on here. But in this palette, what are the palette colors, right? So if you're going to be doing something like this and you're not 100% sure what colors you want to use, sometimes it's good to have like a little scratch paper, and you can keep that right handy. And I got lots of brushes here. This one is like a cat's tongue. I don't know. I keep a lot of different brushes on hand just in case. And then I got these new ones my husband gave me. This nice big one. We can use a bunch of these. They'll be fine. Here's the thing, not used to this palette, not used to these brushes. So you guys are going to be experiencing stuff like cray. I'm going to drink some of my tea. I feel that tickle in the throat that's just like a frog. And of course I'm using the Coastal Comb honey. Might need more honey. It's not too sweet, and it's some kind of English tea, breakfast tea. But Coastal Comb Bee Company, my pastor's bees make that honey. So I always refer to it as holy honey. It's kind of funny. All right, so we're gonna look and see what colors we want. All right, do you want me to zoom you in? I can zoom you in. Let's see what happens if I zoom you in. So we're just looking at different colors that are in this little turtle palette that I have. I do want to make some more little turtle palettes, but I'm not a potter. I have friends who are. Look at this color. I'm not 100% sure what these colors are. I'm so sorry if you guys want names of things. But I'm more of an eyeball it anyways kind of person. What's this color? It's kind of similar. And you know, the more water, the lighter, and the more paint, the darker. So, can do that. Those look good. Now, what if I want to make a green color? Here's a green. That's kind of neat. A neat looking green. I think that's green gold, or I don't know what it is. Or if I want to make something with a little bit of yellow. So we're just doing kind of colors on this just to test some colors, because we don't know what colors we want to use. Might try this blue. What does this blue look like? So we got a couple different blues that I can use, which we're gonna need if we're gonna be capturing the ocean. Okay, the ocean colors are different blues, and I like to mix all my blues. So like all these, I might end up mixing them all. I don't know. This might be cobalt blue, but I think I am in desperate need of cobalt blue, y'all. Is this cobalt blue? Cerulean blue. I don't know if that's it. Might be it. Maybe it's cerulean blue. I'll put a little bit. Just a little bit though. There we go. Cerulean blue I like to use for sky color. All right, so now I've got, here's my overhead so you can see. But I don't know if I want to just, I feel like we're too zoomed in when I did this other one. It's too zoomed in because you can't see the whole thing, but so I'm gonna just scale it down a little bit. So when we need it, I can have it. All right, so I've got some things right there. I've got this one right here. And what I might do, here's the funny thing I might do. Well, you know, let's just do this guy first. Sometimes I like to do other things first, but we're just gonna go right in and wet this whole thing. You might want to tape down your stuff if you're wanting that little white edge around it, which I think is cool. But for some reason, I am not doing that today. And I did just put this cerulean blue out. So we're just gonna go right in. We're just gonna go right in. Fill this whole thing in. This is like, I think the cat's tongue shape. I don't know. And you can go darker in some spots. So now I have filled this in, right? With the sky blue. And so you can see it's still really wet. Now, if I really look carefully at this, there's kind of like almost a purplish hue. Now, my phone might be different than what the original looks like. So that's one of those things you've got to be mindful. Your screen and your camera and your computer, all these things make colors look different to different people. So I may go in and add just a little bit of red, maybe. I don't know, a little bit of red, a little bit of that weird blue. It's kind of a stormy color. I don't know if I want it to be kind of stormy. Maybe. Because sometimes it is kind of stormy by the ocean, isn't it? All right, so I just put some kind of I mixed red, blue, green, whatever was on this palette over here. On this one. I just mixed a bunch of stuff over here. It came up with this kind of purpley gray color. So look at that. It's already doing some cool things. I may just leave it, or I can dry my brush and lift some cloud shapes. Look at that. Like that white in there. Rinse, dry. You should probably get a clean towel, not like me. Not like me. I have like a yucky towel that's been on my desk a million years. So I'm just kind of, see how I'm doing this a little bit? And that's just going to make it look so interesting, y'all. It's just going to be super interesting. That's what I love about watercolor. I don't know. Can you do this with other mediums? I don't know, y'all. But for me, it's just magic. It's magic. Look at this guy. And it's going to keep kind of moving because it is still wet. So sometimes that's another thing about this. Is like it gets a little, like some magic happens. Magic, I say God helping me with my painting. So just gonna let the sky dry now. So while we're waiting for the sky to dry, guess what we can do? We can tell my dog to stop barking, right? So I'm gonna do this color in here, and I can see it transitions. Actually, there's a couple little rocks right in here. Might just put those two little rocks in here. There is like a little section right here of white caps. Sometimes I do that with my pencil. I want to remember not to paint some areas, so I might do that. And I'm going to drink some more tea because, you know, gotta drink some more tea. Should I get that tea bag out? It's pretty strong for a breakfast. For a breakfast tea, it's pretty strong. Yikes. All right, so I'm going to mix the blue up. And I'm going to use this brush. This brush is a number 10. This is Fumui, and I bought it off of Amazon just because I kind of wanted different shaped brushes, and I want to try them out, see if I like them. So we're going to mix this turquoise color that I have, and I'm going to zoom you out just so you can see where I'm mixing. I might mix it over here. Give me a little bit of this blue in the middle. I don't know what color that is. That looks right to me. So we're going to try this. We're going to go across. Now you can tape this if you want to make a straight line. But I am going to give this a nice little wash. And you can go as dark or as light, but I like to keep it light at the very beginning because you can darken it easier than you can lighten it. But you can always do the erasing technique that I've shown you guys with paper towels. And see, this part right here is some cliff coming down. And then there's some rocks. We want to preserve some light right in there. And some light around these areas, right? Now, some people use masking fluid. I am not a huge fan of the masking fluid, so I don't like to use it. I'm going to use a little bit more turquoise. Add that turquoise color in. Now you could wet this with clean water and then go back in and do this, but I am just doing it wet on dry because it gives me more control. So you can definitely do wet brush on dry paper. You don't have to always wet your paper. I'm going to try and preserve some white in there. And as it's going down to these rocks, there's going to be some white caps around them. And I'm going to fill this part in. Now this painting I'm going based off of what I opened on Pinterest to find. It looks like an oil painting to me. Like if I were to guess what it is, I would say it's probably an oil painting. So now I'm going to mix this in some yellow. And if you want to see what I'm doing over here, so I'm mixing in a little bit of yellow into that because I like to look a little bit more green in this area, but not a ton of it. It should be more light. Let's see if we can lighten this. So if you find that you put something down and it's just really quite dark, just lighten it with some clean water and lift it. I like how this is going to look. That's going to look really light and pretty, light and pretty. Sometimes these green colors, they come out closer to the shore because it's more shallow. So that's why I'm doing this right in here. And it's going around these rocks. And I always use the biggest brush that I can because I like how that looks. And so I'm going to put some green in here, but preserving some white. And look at how light this is going to be. It's going to look so pretty. Give it some little dots in there. Can you see what I'm doing? Probably not. There you go. I just moved my paper. So now I'm giving this a little bit of a light kind of wash in here, just in a few places. Now we're going to go back to my turquoise color. If you want to watch me mix it. And we can check our colors over here. So that looks good. I like that one. It's kind of darker, but we're going to put it in spots. And the good thing about all of these, the watercolors, is that you can lighten anything you do. And sometimes you'll be like, oh, it looks like a mess. Well, just go back in with your wet brush and blend it all together and see what happens then. And then you can always improvise. You don't have to go based off the whole picture. Like you can start incorporating different colors in there. You can do your own take on what you're seeing. So you're the artist. You can get inspired and then you can start doing your own thing. Like I do that a lot. And see how I'm just going to do some little lines through here. I don't know. Might look kind of interesting to do that. I like that. That looks pretty. See up close, all this softness in here is very nice to see it. And it's still kind of wet. We could put a couple little darker places. And it's because it's wet, it's kind of flowing outwards. And like, let's say you forget to leave white space, you can always go back in and do white space later with a white ink or gel pen. So it's not necessary to be upset if you forget to leave white. Okay? I like to do it, but if I don't do it perfectly, it's okay. So we've got this down and it's looking really good. It's a little shiny. I am liking it though. Looks good. My sky looks good. All these colors on the side here I like that little swatch. But this is looking good. Not too shabby. And I have preserved some of the white. I don't know if I want white right there. It's fine. So now all this is cliffs and mountains. Cliffs and mountains. What color are cliffs and mountains? You might be like, well, it could be brown. Could be burnt sienna. I don't know if you can see my burnt sienna. Oh, hey, Beth. Thanks for joining. Hope you had a happy Easter yesterday. We enjoyed it and went to church. Had family over for food. Really great. I am just squeezing out a little burnt sienna right there. Now you could create, some of these colors are interesting. So like this almost looks like an orange to me. So that burnt sienna will look great. And then there's some mossy green colored stuff. And these mountains in the background look almost purpley. So we'll see what I can create here. I got my little palette that I can create some colors on, and we'll see what I can design. So I'm going to stick with this brush. I think I like this brush. And I'm going to mix this with some of the green and see what color that looks. That looks good, but it's real watery. So I might need to mix it a little thicker. But that's just mixing it with this yellowish green on my palette. And what color is that? It's kind of a nice tan. It's a tan color. So that looks good. Let's see if I can get you guys to see what I'm seeing. So see this and this, they're just a little different because I add a little more burnt sienna. Let's see what else we can mix. And I can mix up some red. Some of this, there's two kinds of reds in here. I might mix them together and see what happens. And a little bit of this yellow. See what that looks like. Ooh, I like that. I like that color. All right. So my water in my ocean might be still kind of wet or damp. So I wouldn't want to paint right next to it because that would bleed all the colors together. Beth says, love the colors. My favorite, blues, turquoise. Thanks for your time and skills. Oh, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. So we're going to try and do this paler color, I think. And we might, I think this is dry enough that we can go kind of next to it. And this is one mountainous hill right here. So maybe focus on one mountain at a time or one rocky cliff at a time. And that will help you to not get overwhelmed. Because a lot of times we get so overwhelmed by things. So I'm doing that. And there's a little speck. Get rid of that little speck. Now I'm going to go in with that burnt sienna color and see what happens when I just drop it in. Remember, we're painting with watercolor. Watercolor is supposed to move and flow. It's not supposed to just stay in one spot and not have any life. It's supposed to have life. Let's see. Put some right in there. And sometimes you just dab it here and there and it just looks good somehow. So I'm going to let that kind of do its thing. Here's a close-up. It's looking really good. I'm going to rinse my brush. And I might mix up a green now. So sometimes when we mix our greens, we mix yellow and blue. And that keeps it nice and cohesive. I'm going to do some of this yellow. I don't know what green this is. But I can add some of this blue that I had from somewhere else and mix that in. Ooh, yeah, look at that. That's a nice color. Let's actually test it out on here and see what we like, if it's a nice green. Do we like that green? Maybe. I think that is the green that I want. So I'm going to just go for it. And just put it up here at the top. And it doesn't have to do the same pattern that they're doing in the actual photo that I'm using for inspiration. We can do whatever we want. I may go ahead and do the tops of this one. It looks like it's similar color. But see, that's not on top of a different color, so it's okay. It's going to stay kind of green. And I might mix this color into it just to be silly. Just to be silly. Oh, I'm liking that. That looks good. But see, I left that white line in the middle there because if I touch it to the green, it's going to bleed together, kind of like it did right there. And that's okay if you like that, but I am wanting it to not do that. This is looking so marbly. I love it. Love it already. I'm trying to think where else I can paint where it won't touch this area. We can do some of these rocks, maybe? Let's do some rocks. And I think I have some darker browns. Let's see what happens when I do a darker brown that's on there. So we're just doing little bits here and there. And I'm trying to leave some splashy white at the bottom, okay? The splashy white is something you could go back in with some white paint if you want, but I want to try and preserve it as paper, the white paper. And see how I'm just very quickly, I'm just very quickly putting these in here, and I can really get I can leave some white, or I can just get rid of the white if I don't like it. What happens if we go to this one down here? Can you see this one? And what's great about watercolor, like let's say you don't even like the color you just put down, you can go in with some yellows and burnt sienna and add it here and there. And that can just, that changes the whole color, doesn't it? When you add a little bit of burnt sienna in there. Or you can rinse and add a little bit of that green. And it all just kind of blends together. And we just get exciting colors that way. So that looks good. So far, so good, right? And we're just maybe doing this in one layer. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think this is getting dry enough. I can go in with some green. My greenery. So like there's a lot of cliffs where the grass is growing at the top. It's just rock. Rocks at the bottom. And sometimes you get a little bit of green growing in the rocks, but sometimes you don't. Let's see what happens when I put this in there. That might be too yellow. And I could add some burnt sienna, real thick. And do that. And then I can add the green in there. And add this. And I had some, what color is this? This is raw umber. Let's see what happens if I get some raw umber out. This paint is, I want to say 30 years old, y'all. It doesn't go bad. It could go bad, but then you just cut it open and hydrate it. Okay, so now I got some burnt sienna. I'm gonna add some water to get it hydrated. So I'm just adding that in. And I might mix in a little bit of lamp black that I have on here just to tone it down and make it darker in here. So I am witnessing with my own eyes, there's some darker areas on these cliffs towards the bottom. And where did that other little bit of stuff, where is that? So I'm going to add a bunch of little blobs of that darker area just to do those little nooks and crannies in there. Maybe a couple up here. Yeah, I'm liking that. It looks really, really bright on camera. I'm looking at it on camera and I'm like, that looks really bright. Might have to tone that down. So sometimes to tone things down, you can either lift and get some of these little highlights back and remove some of that real dark. So that looks like it'll be nice when you let it dry. Let it dry. And this is one of those times when a credit card would be great. If y'all don't have credit cards on hand, you need to. So I have this. I don't know. It was a card from a hotel room, I think. And so I want to get some nice little highlights. And sometimes doing this is frustrating because I don't even know really the best time to do it. It's almost like you got to have the perfect timing, right? I don't know. I think I tore up the paper right there. But we'll see. We'll see. It might look good. Another really cool thing you can do. A little bit of that ocean. Can put a little bit of that ocean. Not too much. Just let that kind of have salt sitting on there. Might go into a smaller size brush and just add some of this darker areas in here just to get it the contrast going. And I like some on this rock. It's almost like there's some dark areas on these rocks. And I like that. And like this area up here has some shadow sides, I guess. I don't know. It's definitely different. Put some right there. And definitely some over here. And we can mix that with some stuff and see what happens. And that just adds detail. Some detail. Gotta have some detail, y'all. It's not all just loosey-goosey. But it can be fun. This can be fun. So I'm liking that. I may water down this kind of strange color that I just made and go across the bottom here. But that's kind of dark, but I like it, and I'm gonna soften it. Just soften it. That looks good. Our cliffs are starting to look good. I like these colors. I like the scrapes. We'll keep them. We'll keep those scrapes. This area is still white and we need to paint it. So I'm thinking I gotta mix a nice kind of purplish, bluish color. I don't know. Let's see what happens when we mix some colors. So I'll zoom out just so you can see me. Mix a little bit. So this is that turquoise color. And I'm gonna make some, I don't know what color that is. Sometimes we got stuff on our palette. We don't even know what that is. Payne's Gray, maybe? We'll put a little touch of red. Little touch of red. Little touch of this red. See, we're getting a purple color. It's kind of not very much, but it's a little bit of color. And then we can mix it in with the turquoise blue. Then that's too blue, maybe. Maybe put a little bit of this yellow and see what happens. That's too green. Go back to this red. What happens when we add the red to that? Should try and zoom in on what I'm mixing. Add some more red. Ooh, might be too much. Too much red. What color is that? So this is kind of nice, I think. But maybe I'll add just a little bit of that other blue. Just to, it's not a turquoisey blue, it's just a ultramarine blue maybe. This is a good color. I like this color. This is good. So now we will zoom back in so you can watch me paint. I will show you this color I just made. Look how dark though. So this is one of those times where I may want to wet this first with a clean brush and clean water. So I may go in here and just fill this in with just somewhat clean water, right? Try and be careful with your horizon here. But if your paint's not flowing, what does that mean? You need more water. More water. So now we're gonna drop this purple in right up here. Almost looks like the same color as the clouds. So maybe these are kind of like shadows of the clouds, right? And then we're gonna angle it down, do some right in here. Do some areas in there. Make this dark again over here. Put some in there. Look at that. Looks good. Little background hill. Now I do notice these are really lighter than I kind of want them to be. So I may, and I think I want to put a little bit of blue into there and just add some blues. Add a little more blue. Just to give it a little definition in some areas. So your blue coming in might look good in there. And I might put a little bit of a green in some spots. Ooh, that's a lot of green. And I might put a little bit of yellow. No, that's too much yellow. Get out of there. Get out there, yellow. Why is that so dark? Is that dark? Let me double check. Might just be too much. Too much. Let's see what happens now. That looks better. That is lots better. And I like it. I like that back mountain now. It's like, what happened? I put a bunch of stuff in there and erased it. And then I put more. And it looks better. It looks better. So sometimes you get a happy accident. Just like Bob Ross says. This is definitely really, really wet. So I don't know if I should add a little bit. Do I even have that much black in here? I don't think I do I? Yeah, I have too many places that I paint. That's why. So everything I'm looking for is either here in the car or at the studio. And I don't know if I have any. I have burnt umber. I don't know. I want to try some of this. This might be hard to squeeze out. We'll see what happens. It is Payne's Gray. It's not coming out. What happens if I just stick my brush in there? Let's see what happens. I know this one lady does stuff like this. She sticks her brush right in the tip of that. So let's see what happens if I just put it Oh, it's nice. Kind of like it. See that? It just adds a little something. It's nice and dark. So we can do that. We can like scoop out what we can right out of that. I'm liking that. That idea. So see how I've just added some darker little areas in here? And that just gives it a shadow side, basically. I might add some more in this one. And it's definitely different than the inspiration piece in a lot of ways, okay? It's definitely different. Now, what happens if I want to water down some of this Payne's Gray and do a little bit of this with the green up here? I might do the dry brush technique if I can. I don't know. Sometimes it's not cooperating. Sometimes it don't cooperate. That's okay though. And this is kind of more shadow side over here. I'll put a couple little more little areas. Give it some terrain, right? Needs a little terrain. If you don't like how any of that looks, you can soften it with your brush. And some clean water, just smooth out anything you don't like. Of course, I kind of like it. I don't know. It might smooth it out just a little bit. I like that. That looks good. What? Do you need to get out? My little dog's in here with me and he's barking. What do you need? You need to go out. Go out there. So, oh my gosh, this is looking a lot like the inspiration piece. Let me see if I can put them side by side. I didn't have time to download it to my computer and show you guys, but I think it's looking pretty good. It's definitely different than the inspiration piece. So we'll see how it turns out. Let's see. Ooh, I'm liking what the salt did. Y'all, I added salt because watercolor and salt make these really cool little starbursts is what I call them. They look neat. I like it. But let's look at this from a distance. My paper's warping just ever so slightly with the water. That's why some people like to tape it down so it doesn't warp. But I'll tell you, sometimes I like it to warp a little bit. But you can always fix it with some heat. That's a trick. Flip your paper over and heat the back of it and it should flatten a little bit. Oh, I'm gonna have to frame this one. I like it. I like it. I hope you like it. May add a little bit more of this mossy color. Feeling like it needs just a little bit more on like this backside. I might make that a little peak and then this a little peak. Maybe one right there. And I don't have to do this perfectly. It can be whatever. It can be whatever, right? We don't have to do it just right. I think if you are enjoying this and you are liking this, then that's all that matters. So I'm just doing a little bit there. And see, I dried it just so I could do this. Now, I feel like this clip right here is too backwards to me. So I'm going to add, I don't even know what color that is. See if I can figure out a nicer color. Let's see. We'll try it on my paper and see what color that is. Do you like that color? Is that what color we want? I'll just do a little bit there. I can put a little bit in here. See that? I don't know if I'm ruining it. Ruined? Is it ruined? Then I might rinse and soften with some clean water. Soften that edge. Soften. That looks nice. That looks nice. Now I do want to bring a touch of that yellow into these rocks that are jutting out a little bit, because it will make them look like they belong there instead of like they were thrown there from somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? These rocks need to kind of look like they're from there. From that cliff. So we put a little bit of yellow in there and that should make it look pretty much like it belongs. Yeah, I'm really starting to feel like this is too right there is just not working. I need to darken that. So we may need to go back to our kind of turquoise color and bring that back in. If you want to see what I'm doing, I'm just putting some of this turquoise back in here. And I can do, let me see what color that is. I may end up putting it a little bit right in here. See how that's just adding a little interest, right? We just want to add some interest. Sometimes we get a little cray-cray and do too much. And this is when I let my eyes do the work. Come on, eyes, let's work. Let's do something. And the Holy Spirit, let's be in cooperation today. Cooperation is always nice, right? There we go. That's fairly nice. I like how that added lighter areas in here. And I could add, go smaller brush, really smaller brush. I don't even know. This is, why don't they make these things not peel off? That's a 3 round. I don't know. Teeny tiny. Let's mix up some dark brown if I can. Maybe if I mix a couple colors together, I can get a nice brown. That's one of those things where if you mix red, blue, green, yellow all together, you might get a nice brown. You might get a nice brown, but I'm just doing this under the surface of the water. So it's not even supposed to be any kind of perfection of anything. And I'm going to jut these out just a little bit because this is rocky terrain. This is not supposed to be anything that's not, I don't know. It's supposed to look kind of like rocks under the water, through the water, right? We're trying to get some rocks through this water. I'm gonna put some right in here. Maybe a couple in there. So zoom in and you can see what I'm gonna doing. See how I'm adding these in a few places? So this is like where maybe tide pools are or something. I'm gonna rinse my brush, dry it a little bit, and just lighten some of this and make them look a little more watery. See how I'm kind of erasing them just a little bit with a clean kind of brush. And it makes them look a little bit like they're under the water. So that's kind of cool. I'm still leaving a lot of white up against those cliffs. And if we really wanted to, we could end up splattering some white if we wanted to. And I'm just adding some turquoise back in to make it look like it's got some darker areas and giving it interest. And you don't have to do this too much because you can overdo a painting, right? We've all done that. We've all overdone it. Wow, I am liking this. It might be one of my next classes, y'all. Might be. What happens if we add something in here? Some like this really. Let me see if I can zoom it in, do this part. There we go. So see, I'm adding this yellowish color in here with some of that white foam. And it's just making it look a little bit more like the waves. The waves are in here. I see my pencil line. I'm not real happy. No, I don't like the pencil line. So I'll try and get rid of the pencil line with a darker color right next to it, right? There we go. It has another rock down here. I'm not going to paint that rock. It's okay. You don't need that rock. I'm liking how that looks. It looks kind of real. Kind of real. You know what's funny when I do these things? I mean, I am like always amazed. It looks like realistic, right? No, there's some kind of weird white area in there. I don't know if I want that kind of in there. So I may have to soften that with some kind of this greenish color and get rid of it. But I don't really want to mess it up. That's okay if I do. It's a test, right? Everything can be a test. And you don't have to worry about ruining it. Just try it. Just try it. But y'all, what a great concept that was to open up Pinterest and paint whatever is the first thing you see. So what if it had been flowers? I would have painted flowers. What if it had been, I don't know, a bunny rabbit? Would have painted a bunny rabbit, right? So I'm liking this. I think it looks good. I like how there's soft colors in the shallows here and there. Now, let's say You wanted to do a little bit of white at the very end. You can do this Chinese white. I don't know what this is. And it's watercolor. I don't like to use white, to be honest. But what happens if we use it? I would say maybe something good can happen. Maybe. We'll see. I'm going to see what happens. Just going to dab. It's just so watery. I don't like how watery it is. I don't think it's going to look like anything. See how it looks on there? Don't really look like anything. I think it's too... The thicker it is, the better I like it. Or you can use gouache. Have you guys ever tried gouache? See how this is looking? I just dipped a little bit. I'm trying what it looks like over that. So you can use it sparingly. I would not use a lot of white. But this is Chinese white watercolor paint. Now I do think some people scrape their paper to get white. See, I left that white with it is the paper. The paper is white. And I like that. But up here I might want to put a couple more little areas of white. And y'all, this is when you can go too much. Too much. But I kind of like it. I mean, I would have to be real thick with this. And it's already picking up the blues and making some of the blue mixed with the white. So I'm just going to be done. It's good enough. It's good. And it's good enough. That's what I would like you guys to start saying to yourself. It's good. And it's good enough. And that would make it so much better, right? When we just say it's good enough. I like this. I really like this. I like the colors. And I'll frame this. This is going to be a 5x7 frame. So it may end up, I don't know, it may take off some because I did cut this a little big. We'll see. We'll see how it looks framed. Maybe I'll do a class in person if you guys are local. If you want to do this as a class, let me know. I have a couple more things I'm doing. Let me see. So let me look at some of the things that I wanted to show you guys that's coming up. Oh, Ellen is one of the artists in my studio, and she's doing a class on ephemera, tags, tucks, and pockets for a junk journal. So if you are interested in taking that class, you can go to my website, stampinturtles.com, no G in Stampin', and sign up for her class. I think it's April 8th. So that's Wednesday at 5 p.m. My next class is going to be ACEOs, which I don't have no picture of, sorry. But we're going to do, ACEOs are 2.5 by 3.5 size cards. And I'm going to do a bunch of different ones. So if you like to paint small, or you want to learn to paint small different sized cards, then you should sign up for that. Let me see if I have, I don't know, I had it right here. Did I have it right here? Who knows where I had it? Sometimes I have things right here, and then sometimes I don't. Oh, no, did I just drop that? No, these are little cards, so it's about this size, okay? Oops. These were just little ones I did. Little crab, little sea turtle, that seashell, little fish. But that's the size, so you want to paint something this size. And so we might do this in a small card. We might do something like this in a small card. Here's a little small card. It's already tiny. I do wish I had, they're over at my studio, so unfortunately they're not right here. We could do flowers in a vase, things like that, and it'll be good. It'll be fun because, you know, everything when you're together with other artists is fun. I've been meeting with some TikTok artists in my area on Tuesdays, and we just enjoy each other's company, and we create whatever we want and share our ideas and help each other grow our followings on TikTok. So it's kind of fun. And but if you are interested in doing that, you could join us if you're also a TikTok artist, right? But today's scripture I haven't even picked up, but let's say it's interesting because we just had Easter, and everything is just pointing to his return, y'all. The news, just read the news and you'll be like, Jesus is coming soon. Let me see. I like this one. 1 Peter 5:7. It says, let God have all your worries and cares, for he's always thinking about you and watching everything that concerns you. Wow. Let him have all your worries and cares. Do you have some worries you hang on to? Like, I'll let him have these worries, but these other ones I'm going to hang on to. Yeah, I do that. And it's funny because you think that, you know, God has the power to handle all of these concerns better than you. But sometimes we still think we want to do it ourselves. We want to handle it ourselves. It's almost like loading the dishwasher. You might ask people to put their dishes in the dishwasher, but after you see how they did it, you want to move it around because you think you know better, right? But guess what? The dishwasher is going to wash them all. It may just be more that I've figured out how to pack as much in there as possible. So that's why I do it. But you could do anything and it could be okay. But let God handle it, okay? If you have a worry, let God handle it. This week, let's practice that. Let's practice giving God our worries. And so if you have a worry, I have a junk journal. I started, let me see if I have it right here. Is this the one? Oops. This one I have not written in yet, but I did make this. This is eco-dyed paper. Isn't this so cool? It's made with leaves and dyes and rust and little stuff thrown in the water with it. It's really cool. This is also a class Ellen's teaching. She's doing one with paper. Hi, Choo-Choo. Oh, here's a couple of my little smaller ones. And so this was eco-dyed paper that we did. And I was starting to write in one of these, but I don't know which one I started writing in. And but you can, that would be a good thing for if you have a junk journal you haven't started writing in, you could label it worries and just write all your worries in there. And then that's where they stay. You don't pick them back up. You give them to God. I like this color paper. It's like a purplish color. So yeah, that's something you guys could do if you want to join one of our paper making classes. I usually attend those because I like to have lots of little papers to make journals with. And but this is what we did today. So I hope if you didn't watch it from the beginning, it'll load. It'll load from the beginning. But I love that water. That water looks so amazing. And the cliffs. I like how it turned out, y'all. And I didn't sign it, but I will sign it with my little pen. Now some people be like, well, that's not even your artwork because it looks like someone else's artwork. I painted this, y'all, so it's my artwork. It's not exact like theirs, but it's okay. It's mine. I painted it. You watched me live. But so anyways, I hope you guys do have a great week. I love you all. I pray for y'all and I think of you often. Mwah. Have a good one.